Welcome back to the Perfect Season podcast. This is the super amazing podcast where we talk about everything sports related now because we are more than just football, apparently. My name is Alex. I'm joined today with Anthony and Frankie. First time I've been back in a little bit. It's good to be back. But today we're going to be going over a load of stuff. Number one, we're going to be ranking all the starting quarterbacks from first to worst, or worst to first, depending on how you want to look at it. And it's just kind of how the just everything else that we've been going over. There's lots of quarterback trades, Baker Mayfield being a big one, but we'll be getting into that later. So, gentlemen, I think we should just get started off. Let's just emphasize who our worst quarterbacks were. Number 32. Who was number 32 on your list?
You know what? I'll start. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. You already know. I watched this quarterback in college, hated him. Hate this school with a passion.
Oh, God.
I'm going Justin Fields at 32. Justin Fields at 32.
Well, he must have done something right to do that.
He's not a quarterback-ridden NFL quarterback. No, he doesn't have enough experience. Yeah, he's on the measly Bears for crying out loud.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you just got Nicky
that is the reason why he's not good, Anthony. It's nothing against him. He just
7
didn't have
touchdowns for 10 interceptions. Remember that.
Look who he was throwing to, though. And look at the offensive line who he was playing behind.
And also not to mention the fact the public saying that he didn't even want him on the team.
Yes.
And pretty much set him up for failure. Look, the GMs have literally even set him up for failure even worse this year. Who's his number one quarterback now? N'Keal Harry? Come on.
Yeah, I'd rather have Allen Robinson than N'Keal Harry.
Agreed.
If we're being honest.
Agreed. All right, Frankie, who's your 32?
So, my more rational number 32 than Mr. Antonio here goes to Davis Mills of Houston.
Really?
And I say that.
Really?
Okay. See, I haven't watched a lot of Davis Mills. I only watched one game the Texans played last year, and that was their Thursday night game. But Davis Mills' numbers from last year, just under 3,000 yards, 66.8% completion, 16 touchdowns, 10 receptions, rating of 88.8. I just feel like with him, I don't really know what his future holds in Houston. I don't know what the future holds for the Houston Texans, for crying out loud, but
agreed.
That's why I have him at 32. I feel like I don't know a lot about him. I didn't watch a lot of film of him last year.
Giraffe-looking neck.
What?
He has a giraffe-looking neck. Mike Glennon in the making.
Well, where's that going to get you? Journeyman?
Nowhere in life. He plays for the freaking Texans.
That's not saying much though.
All right, so this makes me feel a little bit better about my pick. So we've each had a different bottom of the league pick. So, and the worst thing about this is that even my pick is going to be a second-year quarterback going into this year. My 32nd pick is none other than the New York Jets quarterback, Zach Wilson.
I forgot about him.
I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I understand Zach Wilson showed a little bit more shine towards the end of the season compared to the front. I don't see it. If you watch the draft videos from when Zach Wilson was drafted, I was very adamant and said almost every single episode, I don't see a future for Zach Wilson. I don't see it. I don't see the talent.
Jets for crying out loud.
Okay, and that's fair. He plays for the Jets.
I'd arguably say Zach Wilson has a better future than Justin Fields.
And I disagree with that. Because you know what? Okay, you know what? Actually, I take
Who are you agreeing with, Frankie?
I take that back.
With you, Anthony.
I'm agreeing with Anthony. I'm agreeing with Anthony in terms of career, but even I still think that Justin Fields has more skill and talent than Zach Wilson.
I mean, the Jets at best are going to be a 4-5 win team this year. I'm not.
The Jets have improved.
Going to be a 5-win team.
The Jets have improved, but I don't think Zach Wilson will be able to capitalize on the improvement.
The Jets are not going to be a cakewalk for the Bills, the Dolphins, Alex, your team, or the Patriots.
Maybe the Patriots. Maybe
not really.
I don't know. Anthony, listen. The Jets had one of the best off seasons of any team in the National Football League. They improved offensively. They improved defensively. And if they stay healthy this year, they're going to be a team you don't want to face at any point in the season.
But here's the other thing, and Frankie, you're completely correct. The Jets are completely capable of being an 8 to 9 win team, but I think Zach Wilson's going to hold them behind and make them a 6 to 7 win team at best.
I mean, look at Zach Wilson. Look at his body build compared to normal quarterbacks in this league. Zach Wilson's what? 5'9", 5'10". Looks like a
the problem with Zach Wilson. The problem with Zach Wilson is he's so raw. Like, he has talent.
He has the talent.
I saw this guy. Yeah, I saw this guy beat Tennessee last year. Okay, and that's a damn good Tennessee defense that the Jets beat in Week 4.
Not a good offense.
Tennessee. It doesn't matter. Anthony, the quarterback, doesn't face the opposing offense. He faces the defense on the field. Like,
yeah,
you have to,
and also just one more quick thing.
Don't curse on the podcast. But go ahead, Alex.
Let's all not forget that Zach Wilson and the Jets also put a run on the Bucs. That also was the same game that Antonio Brown left.
Yeah.
Yes, and it took a touchdown to Cyril Grayson for the Buccaneers to pull that game out.
Exactly. But okay, so we're getting way too invested in the Jets.
By the way, if Tampa Bay loses that game, they are seated below the Rams in the playoffs. Just pointing that out.
Did y'all also see? I know it's off topic, but it's still about Zach Wilson. That he ended up taking 2 college cheerleaders to his high school prom.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
No, we're not getting into that. Okay. I purposely left that topic off. I'll say this about Zach Wilson. He wasn't as good as you might think he was at the end of the season, but then again, he has better weapons this year. They have a running game. If the offensive line can be even just solid, if you have at least a solid offensive line in today's NFL, you can win.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's fair. Offensive line creates separation for the
the Cincinnati Bengals almost won a Super Bowl with their offensive line. We're being honest.
And they improved it even further. All right, Anthony.
Let's move on to 31. How about that?
Anthony.
Why are we starting at the bottom? Can we start at the top? Start the top more positively?
No, we got to start. We got to start bad.
And then worst to first.
Yeah. All right. So Anthony,
I guess it started worst and then went to first.
Anthony, who is your quarterbacks from the 31st best to the 25th?
Okay.
31, I got Darnold, I got Mills, Wilson, Mariota, Trubisky, Jones, and then Winston.
Interesting that you have Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Where you
he
have
is
him.
coming off an injury. Remember that. Just because he went 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions doesn't mean that he's still going to be where he was at last year. He's going to have some minor setbacks.
Yeah, that, and don't forget, the Saints have a new head coach who's a completely different mind than Sean Payton. Dennis Allen comes from a defensive background. But let me ask you this, Anthony. Did you ever think Jameis Winston was worse, was Jameis Winston ever the 25th best quarterback when he was with Tampa Bay, or did you think he was better than that? Okay, so why are you putting him at 25? Just because he's coming off an injury.
If Winston was still in Tampa, I'd have Winston closer to 30.
If he was still in Tampa, you'd have him closer to 30?
He only had one winning season. How does that make sense? His first pass in the NFL career was a pick 6. Remember that.
Okay, but look who he was throwing to in 2015. Compared to who he was throwing to in 2019. I don't even know what you just said, and I don't care, because look at who he was throwing to at the end of his Tampa Bay career.
What, Evans?
Like, there's a reason Jameis Winston put up a lot of numbers, some in not so good areas, but you're saying that Jameis Winston was the 20. You would have had him worse if he was still with Tampa Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That might be the dumbest thing you've said on this podcast.
And also, it's worth to mention that Jameis Winston
he was never fit for Tampa. I'll say that point.
And it's also worth mentioning that before Jameis Winston got injured last year in Week 6, that he led the Saints to what
5 wins.
5 wins, yeah. And then
5 wins. Was it 5?
And then 5. I thought they were 5-1, and then he got injured.
When was their bye?
No, because he got injured in Week 6 against the Bucs. So they were 4-1. The backup goes in and then beats the Bucs. Were they 4-2? I don't remember.
I think they were 4-2 because they beat Tampa Bay and they got to within a half game. So that would have been 5-2.
Yes. Okay.
Because then they lost 5 straight.
Yeah, and then they pretty much All right, Frankie, what's your 31 through 25?
31 through 25. I've got Drew Lock at 31, Zach Wilson 30, Jacoby Brissett 29, which my phone autocorrected to Jacoby Bridget, if that's anything.
Nice.
28, Marcus Mariota, 27, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance 26, and then Justin Fields 25.
Wow. Okay. I like the Justin Fields pick. I like that placement there. He's not as bad as everybody's making him out to be, and he's going to seem a lot worse this season than what he was last year. Right?
Wait, say that last one again.
Okay. I like the Justin Fields placement at 25 because with the offense that's around him, he's going to seem a lot worse than what he is.
Yeah, I agree with that because who do the Bears have on offense besides
N'Keal Harry, Allen
N'Keal Harry,
Brian
Demir
Pringle.
Bird?
They have
Byron Pringle's good, I guess.
Cole Kmet, he's still on the team.
One of their 5,000 tight ends.
Yeah. Let's see.
Which, I mean,
Jakeem Grant, I think, is still on the Bears.
I haven't really seen a lot from him.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what, Frankie? That's actually that's not bad one. All right, so my 31.
There's also do.
Told you I'm good at this.
Yeah, right.
They got some underrated running backs also.
David Montgomery is
Montgomery.
He's good. I like him. It's just like it feels like with Justin Fields, and to Alex's point, the offense around him is Tula to me. There's not any flavor to that offense.
So you have to add some sugar and spice, add some red velvet, add some.
Well, it's easier said than done, Anthony. Alex, please, before Anthony says something really dumb.
All right, so my 31.
What'd you drink tonight?
Who, me?
Oh wait, you're underage. My bad. Alex, go on.
My 31 is still Justin Fields, and again, it's still gonna add. Okay, so 30 is Drew Lock. 29 is Mariota, 28 is Daniel Jones, 27 is Jacoby Brissett, 26 is Davis Mills, 25 is Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, interesting. You have Trevor Lawrence that low.
Because how my phone was, I was going each team's quarterback. I was placing it on my list, and then whenever I saw a new name, I would fit them where I thought they were. And honestly, Trevor Lawrence just kept falling down. I will give him credit. He was in a very head coaching situation, did not have a lot of weapons, and he got weapons now in Christian Kirk, who is still severely overpaid. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong at putting him at 25, but for right now, in terms of what I saw last year, I'm keeping him there.
It is interesting. Trevor Lawrence is interesting because we're not talking. The national media does not talk about him a lot, but at the end of the day, I see a second-year leap in this guy.
I see 6-7 wins this year with Jacksonville.
Correct. They're not a bad team. They have
5? Look at their schedule.
5.
Well, they're going to get that schedule every year because they're so bad every year, except for 2017. I'll say this: the last time we saw their now head coach Doug Peterson, he was indirectly being accused of tanking because he pulled Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld in that regular season finale against Washington, so which was in essence tanking. I shouldn't say indirectly, like there were rumors that he was tanking. So I did have a problem with that when Jacksonville hired him. But let's not forget, this man won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. This man won with Carson Wentz, and as someone alluded to, Carson Wentz was throwing to deck chairs. So Doug Peterson can coach. Okay, and I think Trevor Lawrence
he's going to change Jacksonville around. You remember?
I think he will.
Remember, Travis Etienne is coming back off injury.
Yes, and that's
going
to help. No, that's going to help the running back.
Christian Kirk. You also got Christian Kirk. Yeah, Alex, you say he's an overpaid wide receiver, but I think he's a good fit for them.
I'm interested in seeing what he can do, and then I also look at their running back room. You add Etienne with James Robinson. And then I look at their receivers, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, like Laviska Shenault. There's some good young talent with the veteran splash in that room.
Agreed. They have some splash, and I will still always be the preacher when I say that Travis Etienne pick because they still had James Robinson. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Their offensive line is also better than you think.
That I agree with.
Underrated.
Anthony, give
Just ask
me,
the Bengals.
Just ask the Bengals. Anthony, give
No,
me 24
no sacks against
to
them last year.
20.
No sacks.
24 through 20.
Yes.
Lord, you're gonna hate me for this.
Mine are interesting.
Yeah, mine
I got Drew Lock at 24.
Okay, why are you even a part of this podcast? I'm kidding.
Wasn't I the one
Drew
that
Lock?
invited you?
Okay.
Remember,
What has
anyway.
he done to be above 28?
He's won a couple games with Denver, so what?
A couple
He had a good
games.
season.
Okay.
What do you
okay.
freaking do? Keep going.
Okay, 23, Anthony.
Mac Jones. It's a good.
What?
It's a good fit for him. It's a
Dude, I'm
good
a
fit for him.
That's the Dolphins fan, and he's appalled by that.
I'm a Dolphins fan, and even I think that's disrespectful.
That's a good fit for him.
The
He
only
had a
rookie
good-
quarterback to have
He
a
had a
winning record
good
last year.
rookie season. He had a good rookie season. You never
Mhm.
know. Next year could be a horrible year for him. Maybe he had just one of those rookie seasons. You
All right,
never know.
But in essence, you're ranking him because of how you think he's going to do this year. When really you should be ranking these quarterbacks based off what they did last year.
Last year.
That's what I in my
Well,
opinion.
last year and in previous seasons as well. But
Yeah.
Frankie's correct. All right, Anthony, 22.
Jeez.
Trevor Lawrence.
21.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Me and you got the same one for Lawrence.
Oh, we do.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
We actually agreed on something for once.
Well,
Oh my god. All right, keep going. You got two more.
blind squirrels find their nuts
DeShaun
every once in a
Watson
while.
at 21. I got DeShaun at 21.
So you actually put DeShaun in your rankings.
I'm a firm believer that DeShaun's gonna play this year.
And
Maybe one, maybe two.
I think Frankie and I disagree because we both put Brissett in our rankings before that.
Yeah, I don't have DeShaun.
Okay, and
if I
at
did have DeShaun,
20,
and by the way, here's the other problem with that. If I did have DeShaun, he'd be in my top 10.
I was thinking about putting him in his top 10, but he hasn't played a game since 2020. So
What did he do the last time he played?
yeah, he
Went to
went
the
33 for 7. 33
There you
touchdowns.
go.
Yeah, but that was 2020.
What
the only
horns do you
reason,
You know
want?
what?
the only reason I have him so low is because he hasn't played since 2020. If he
And
played
here's the other
last
thing
year,
is I'm actually going to agree with Anthony on this one. Is sometimes when
He hasn't
quarterbacks
played since
lose an
2020.
entire year, usually they kind of have that little slump
Yeah.
for their first year. So I
you have that
Yeah.
one bad year. Now,
It is.
if he decides to, if he plays a couple games this year now, and he proves me wrong, if he goes maybe 3-1 in a span, I don't know, or 2-2 at best,
and
but
that's
he has
assuming that he
good
even plays
yards,
this year too.
and if he has good yards, then I'll move him up.
Okay.
But right
Anthony.
now, I'm gonna keep him at 21.
All right, and who's your 20?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, dude.
No, that's actually okay.
Really?
I got Jalen
Oh.
Hurts at 20.
Even I had Jalen Hurts higher than that. All right. Well,
What? Oh, okay. This is gonna be
Oh
interesting.
Lord of mercy, this is gonna get interesting.
No, I'm intrigued. Jalen Hurts is
Where
one
do
of the
you got
most
Jalen?
interesting
We'll
quarterbacks to
see.
talk about in the NFL.
I
telling
agree.
you.
I agree.
The
All right,
Eagles are
Frankie.
winning that division.
He reminds me so much of where we were with Lamar Jackson after his rookie season.
Exactly.
Oh, if you thought that was bad where I got DeShaun or Jalen, just wait till you see where I got Lamar.
Oh gosh.
All right, Frank. What's your 24?
I better make sure I know where I have Lamar. Okay,
Yeah.
24 through 20 for me. Daniel Jones at 24. I struggle with this one, but I'm interested, and this is where you can kind of do some future thinking, because I am interested in seeing what he can do with Brian Dable. Remember, he was a top 10 pick when he was drafted in 2019, so you have to give him that. I know he struggled, but then again, he has had some highs in his career. Jared Goff at 23. I can't believe you haven't mentioned that name yet. So you're telling
Jared
me?
Goff?
No.
I got
Anthony,
Jared Goff. I got Jared Goff in a good ranking. I'm a firm believer in Goff.
Frankie, your 22 pick.
apparently, you have Jared Goff above. Wait. You have Jared Goff above Jalen Hurts
and James Winston.
and Mac Jones.
And Mac Jones.
Hey, remember. Hey, remember this.
Moving on before I start hiccuping. 22, I got Trevor Lawrence. 21, Jalen Hurts. 20, Jameis Winston.
Man,
That's rational thinking, by the way, Anthony Fiorentino.
Both of y'all put Jalen Hurts low. Wow. All right. So my 20.
It's just because I don't know if his play is gonna be able to A, be sustainable, and B, elevate the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, and
then again, look at my season predictions, and I have the Eagles winning 14 to 16 games in every single one of them.
Yeah, and they're gonna win the division.
Well, we'll get to that later, but you're right on that.
All right, so 24, I have Carson Wentz. 23, somebody neither of
Gosh, you're making me
I'll argue Carson Wentz any day of the week.
Where did you put Carson Wentz?
I put Carson Wentz on 19.
Don't give it away.
Okay. 23, again, somebody neither of y'all mentioned. Ryan Tannehill.
Interesting.
Ryan Tannehill, 22.
Oh, you're going to hate me where I got Tannehill.
22,
man.
22, I have Jameis Winston. 21 off. 20, I have Mitchell Trubisky.
What? Okay. You know.
What are you smoking?
Mitch Trubisky?
I have Mitch Trubisky going high.
I can't wait till Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are going to have a field day against that man in week 1.
I'm just saying. Look, and here's the thing. Okay, if he was on the Bears, if you asked me this question 2 years ago, Mitchell Trubisky would have been my bottom 5. But here's the other thing, where Justin Fields' situation is now. Justin Fields and again because of the draft as well. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to start this year. I think he's going to start second year.
I think here's my take. Pickett starts week 5.
No. Okay.
Steelers start the season
He should start week 1, honestly.
I don't think so. I think Mitchell Trubisky has I think he deserves a chance, okay? Because remember, Mitchell Trubisky was responsible for a run for the Bears that he went 12-4 in one season.
Yep. That was one season.
The other 3 seasons, I understand, Anthony.
But he was really good.
Really good. Now, those other 3 seasons, he was underperformed, had losing seasons. I get that. You also have to remember, his head coach was Matt Nagy. His GM was what?
Ryan Pace.
Thank you. That's the name. Okay. It was revealed that Matt Nagy had almost every single time in practice. Matt Nagy had a very different relationship than most coaches have with their quarterbacks. I blame Matt Nagy on why Trubisky did not succeed with Chicago. Then he goes to Buffalo for one season. He's with Josh Allen. I say that he maybe learned a couple things under Allen, and now he's in Pittsburgh. I think he has a real shot to start, and I think he should start, and that's why I have him at 20.
Okay.
There's a lot of validity to that, Alex, because not only did he learn under Josh Allen, but Brian Daboll was one of the hot coaching names or hot coordinator names for head coaching jobs throughout the season. And I think that it has been talked about this offseason. I know Colin Cowherd's talked about it. Mitch Trubisky's learned some things. And honestly, Josh Allen is a very elevated version, I think, of Mitch Trubisky. Someone that can throw from the pocket, but can also make those rollouts to the right. Remember Josh Allen? We'll get to him later, of course. Remember Josh Allen? His first touchdown pass against New England in the playoffs, he rolled all the way out to his right. Looked like he was going to throw the ball away out of bounds. Instead, he finds Dawson Knox back of the end zone. If Trubisky can learn that, how to keep plays alive even when you're all the way out to the edge, I mean, and by the way, going to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to say this, I think the Steelers are being an overlooked team this year.
Agreed. Because
Steelers are 7-10 at best.
Their wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, you wish. And I'm a Bengals fan telling you that.
Mitchell Trubisky has the best shot to make his career something with what the Steelers are now. The Steelers' wide receiver room is better than what the Bears had his entire 4 years there.
Exactly.
If you give him a chance, I say Mitchell Trubisky could add to Thompson's legacy of having a winning season.
And not only that, his running back that he has behind him, Najee Harris.
You could rely on him to get 4 yards consistently every single time.
Did you know that there was only one running back last year with more carries than Najee Harris?
Who?
Joe Mixon.
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh.
Who'd you say?
I thought it was Mixon.
That's a good guess, too. But it's so interesting to me. Najee Harris had 1,200 yards rushing behind that offensive line last year for Pittsburgh.
Exactly. All right, Anthony, 19 through 15.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
Carson Wentz at 19.
That's actually not bad.
It's not bad.
He went 27 for 7 last year. 27 touchdowns.
Against whom, though?
Nobody. All right, continue.
Jared Goff at 18.
That's way too high.
All right.
This is not 2020.
Goff went to the Super Bowl. Did he win? No.
4 years ago. Keep going.
But he still went to a Super Bowl.
That was when he had. Well, okay, he was a different quarterback then.
Kirk Cousins at 17.
It's actually interesting.
Not bad.
Garoppolo at 16.
Way too high.
Okay, and 15?
Dak.
Whoa!
Dak's a bust.
15.
Dak's a bust.
Dak's a bust?
A bust?
Dak's a bust and one hit wonder.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Dak Prescott's a bust.
Mark my words, he is.
Dak Prescott threw for almost 5,000 yards last year after a gruesome ankle injury the year before, led his team to a division title, and you're going to sit there and tell me that he's a bust.
My opinion, he
has played 6 seasons and has won 3 division titles.
But can he win in the playoffs? Can
Lamar Jackson win in the playoffs? You want to say Lamar Jackson's a bust?
I have Lamar at 13.
No. Oh, God.
Alex, just please, before I go off my rail.
Frankie, you're next at from 19 to 15.
Oh, I am? Okay,
Yeah,
well, good. All right, here comes the good stuff. All right, so number 19, Alex, I got Tua Tagovailoa at number 19. There's some good things with Tua, but then again, there's a ceiling and I don't think a very high ceiling, a low ceiling at that.
There's a lot
number
of
18. Okay, now by the way, I didn't even consider Jimmy Garoppolo because I'm under the impression Trey Lance is going to start. So Jimmy G is off my list.
I agree.
Number 18, Baker Mayfield. Did I do this before he got traded? No, I did this after he got traded to Carolina.
I did this today after the trade.
Yeah, okay.
I did this after Carolina.
17. Well, Baker, there's a high floor with him, but his ceiling, not really that high. It will be interesting to see. Excuse you. How healthy he is this year and how that impacts his play. 17. I've got Mac Jones. I really like this kid. I think he's smooth. I think he's polished from the pocket. Now the question is, how is he going to play? And perform this year without Josh McDaniels, who went to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
16, I've got Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is someone who I've changed my opinion on. I said for the better part of 3 years he was a top 10 quarterback, but then 2020 came and I saw him take a lot of sacks, throw a lot of interceptions, and it just seemed like he didn't know how to play quarterback. Then he goes to Indianapolis, has a good season, but tumbles badly down the stretch. So now he goes to the Commanders, who are an interesting team because I think they have an offense that is better than people think. And he's going to be, forget ownership. Ron Rivera is still a pretty damn good coach, which that's another episode, our head coaching rankings. And then 15, I have Ryan Tannehill. Now, I'm thinking about it. I have him a little too high on my list, but at the same time, he's a solid quarterback. You can win with him in the regular season. When he's under a good structure and a good organization, you can win with Ryan Tannehill. The problem is yes. And when he actually gives him the ball, on 3rd and 1 on the opponent's 34-yard line in a playoff game, instead of running a zone read keeper, because apparently that's the right play call on 3rd and 1. Remember that? Bengals Titans? Yeah, I was there for it. But again, you knew I was. And then again, you can win with Tannehill, but there's a ceiling with him. I got him at 15. That might be a little high the more I think about it.
I got Tannehill at 14.
Don't spoil your damn rankings above 15, Anthony.
You both have Tannehill way too high in my opinion. Because I put him at 23.
Okay, but here's the thing. I wanted to rank him lower, but is he really going to fall that far off the face of the earth this year?
I don't think he's going to fall that far off, but I also didn't think that he was on the face of the earth to begin with last season because I thought that Derrick Henry made that offense.
Here's the thing. Halfway through 2020, you could argue this was a top 10 quarterback. This guy was a top 10 quarterback in the league.
You have Malik Willis also in Tennessee, by the way.
Well, that's not going to matter this year, I don't think.
Nah, unless Tannehill somehow tears his ACL.
Again.
Well, don't wish that on him.
I'm not wishing it on. I'm just saying
you threw it out there. All right, Alex.
All right, so at 19, I have Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
18, I have Matt Ryan.
That's too low.
Yeah, I think it's a little. I think that's ample. 17, I have Trey Lance.
Interesting.
Trey Lance over Garoppolo?
Well, yes, if he's going to start.
I think, and I
No,
will be.
Garoppolo starts the season.
I think Trey Lance, in terms of the second-year quarterbacks, has the highest ceiling out of any of those 5 quarterbacks. 6 quarterbacks, I believe. Davis Mills.
So you think he has a? So you're saying he has a higher ceiling than Mac Jones
Oh,
and
significantly
Trevor
higher.
Lawrence?
A little
But you
bit higher
see
than Trevor
Trey.
Lawrence.
Interesting.
The only reason why I think Trey Lance is better than these other second-year quarterbacks is because, again, at North Dakota State, I still think he still has the highest ceiling out of any of the quarterbacks. And I think he's going to do perfectly fine with San Francisco's offense now that Debo is back. You know, the defense is still going to be great. I think he could really make a shine. I think he could make a playoff run this year. But anyway.
If Debo is back, he has a very good offense.
Exactly. If Debo is back.
If
Now,
And
16.
as you said, his head coach.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
He could okay. So 16, I have Mac Jones. Mac Jones,
Okay.
again, was the only quarterback to make the playoffs in his rookie season out of last year. But at the exact same time, I think this is the height of what Mac Jones can do. So I think he's going to be he's a good quarterback to win with. I think this is almost so close to his ceiling. And at 15, I have Tua.
Interesting.
Frankie, I will agree. Tua is a serviceable quarterback. He's had 2 winning seasons, but at the exact same time, he's needed help, and there's still a lot of uncertainty.
2 winning seasons, and I think a lot of the wins last year, Alex, I think you'd have to agree with me on this, came against really bad teams.
Agreed.
When he
the
played
defense
in
bailed
the
him out
rain,
too many times.
Yeah, and when you play in the rain in Nashville and you get beat 34-3,
that puts a feeling in the fans.
Yeah,
trust me.
It does.
All
you
right.
could argue Tua is the most interesting quarterback going into this year.
He has the most expectation assigned to him, is what I would say.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, 14 through 10.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh boy.
Tannehill. That's where I'm starting.
At 14, Tannehill.
Lamar at 13. Matt Ryan at 12. Russell Wilson at 11.
Okay.
That's reasonable. Kyler at 10.
Kyler Murray's another interesting quarterback going into this season.
3 quarterback?
So we actually have another similarity here, Anthony.
Oh,
okay,
fine.
so wait. So you have so Tannehill, Lamar,
Matt Ryan,
Actually,
Russell
we have 2
Wilson, Kyler
similarities.
Murray.
Yeah, now you see we start getting into the upper echelon of quarterbacks. Matt Ryan's interesting too because I think last year the Falcons weren't very good, but look at Matt Ryan's numbers; they weren't bad.
No, they weren't.
And I think now that he's getting to
10 for Kyler. My bad.
And now that Matt Ryan's getting to play with Frank Reich, who was a former offensive coordinator, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles. He's getting to play with Jonathan Taylor. The offensive line is spectacular. And if his receivers can step up and make plays, I'm talking about Mo Alley Cox. I'm talking about T.Y. Hilton. I'm talking about
Pittman Jr.
Who?
Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman Jr. Thank you. That's the other guy I was thinking about. There's another guy who wears number 10. I'm trying to think of his name.
Is T.Y. Hilton still in? I thought T.Y. Hilton was in free agency. I thought he wasn't signed.
Oh well.
Who's still Julio?
Did they sign Julio?
No, they haven't signed Julio. That's
free agent.
Still speculation.
Football wide receiver. Yeah. Oh, he is a free agent. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
So,
He's still. You bring up a good point. I mean, he still has Mo Alley Cox. He still has Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he's going to thrive with this offense.
Yeah, and the thing, the thing about the Colts is they don't have a lot of explosiveness, but what they're going to do is they're going to make you play at a tempo that you are going to hate because they're going to make you work. They're going to control the game. Remember 2 years ago in the playoffs, the Colts played the Bills, and the Bills were much more explosive than the Indianapolis Colts. But what the Colts did a great job of was controlling the game. It was 27-24, where the Bills could have put up 45 on them. Instead, the Colts controlled the game because they can run the football, they can grind you out, they can play really solid defense, and if Matt Ryan can elevate them, get them over the hump and into the playoffs, which I think is very doable in a division that is probably the weakest in football, right?
Agreed.
What, Colts, Texans, Jags, Pitt.
The only team.
Yeah, two teams going to be having top 10 picks alone right there, maybe even top 5.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So 14 through 10 for me. I've got Kirk Cousins at 14, who there was another podcast recently that described quarterbacks as types of sandwiches. Kirk Cousins was a turkey sandwich because there's nothing exciting about a turkey sandwich other than that it's good and nothing else.
What about the ham, cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickle?
Well, then you have a club. And then you have a club sandwich, and that's who I would identify Justin Herbert as. More on that in a minute. So 13, I've got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a quarterback who has definitely gotten better in each of his first 3 seasons. 5 wins in his rookie season, 8 wins his second season, and then 11 wins last year. But it feels like he hit a very, very hard – well, you're yawning on a podcast. Listen to you. He hit a very hard ceiling Kyler Murray hit last year. You saw in the playoffs, he was overwhelmed by the moment and the fact that he was facing one of the best defensive lines in recent memory in the LA Rams. Number 12, Matt Ryan. He's going into his 15th season. I still think he has something.
We had an agreement again.
If we look at Matt Ryan's numbers from last year with the Falcons, that Falcons team wasn't very good. They averaged under 20 points a game offensively. Almost 4,000 yards passing. In fact, he finished just 32 yards shy. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, completion percentage of 67. 67. And that offensive line was not very good. Matt Ryan at 12. Russell Wilson at 11. The only reason why I have him – yeah, look at that. The only reason why I have him outside my top 10 is I didn't think he was that good last year, even after he came back from injury, and he didn't necessarily wow me before his injury. And now you're going to put him with a first-time head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, and you're going to put him in a division that has good defenses and a Denver Broncos team that, let's be honest, I think their offensive line isn't very good. I think their receivers are average, and I just don't know what to expect from a guy who really hasn't played at his best since the first half of 2020. Remember, he wasn't that great in the second half of 2020 either. So I need to see Russell Wilson show me flashes from 2017, 19, and 20 when he was an MVP candidate. And then number 10, first quarterback in my top 10. Anthony, you're going to like this. Derek Carr. I have always been a Derek Carr fan. Alex is laughing at me right now. I'm not sure why. But Derek
Carr is underrated.
By the way,
he's an underrated quarterback.
Exactly. Derek Carr last year threw for more passing yards than Joe Burrow, and he lost to him twice. Last year, Derek Carr, I know he only threw for 23 touchdowns, but 4,804 yards, completion percentage 68.4, rating of 94. And look at the way he performed down the stretch last year. Winning at Cleveland with that game-winning drive. Winning in Indianapolis with the Raiders' playoff hopes in serious jeopardy. Winning that epic regular season finale against the Chargers. Even though the Raiders kicked 5 field goals, he was still spectacular in that game. And then the way he performed in other games this year. At Dallas on Thanksgiving without Darren Waller. Against the Ravens earlier this year, down 14 points several times. Winning at Pittsburgh. Winning at Denver. There's a reason why Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He can win. And now Adams, name me outside of the Bengals. Name me
Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller.
Exactly. I mean, that is an epically good trio right there.
Super Bowl champions.
Oh gosh, Alex, please go before Anthony really goes off.
All right, so the reason why I was like, and you'll see here in a second, but of the quarterbacks that you named, we had in common between 14 through 10, with only one matching up perfectly. And you'll see. So 14, it's about time I finally said the name, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah,
I think
14.
I think it's fascinating that you have him that high.
And the reason is because I think, you also have to remember, who was his wide receiver number 1 last year? Devonta Smith, which is still a good wide receiver. Who else did he have around him? Nobody.
Dallas Goedert.
Okay, besides Goddard. That's fair.
a really solid running game and a good offensive line.
Okay, and that's fair. Now he has A.J. Brown. I don't know why I had him at 14. I just in my head, I think he's much better than what both of you think. But anyway, 12, I have Russell Wilson. 11, I have Kyler Murray. And 10, Derek Carr. So, I mean, another reason about Kyler Murray, he starts off 8-0 in the first half of the season and then dwindles that away and goes 3-5 in the back half. Or, no, 3-6 in the back half.
They went from 7-0 to 11-6. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you. But still, I mean, you throw away that early that you had, and then Russell Wilson being at 12. I have to agree with Frankie. I think the wide receivers in Denver is going to be okay. I'm not too confident that we can see the Broncos making a deep playoff run if they make the playoffs. And
I just think, and here's the thing too, with Russell Wilson, we view him as this god.
Exactly.
Do you know he has a losing record in the playoffs since Super Bowl 49?
Mm-hmm.
3-5.
And I think that's why people view Russell Wilson so highly is because he.
Say that again, Alex. You cut off there.
I think Russell Wilson is viewed so because he has won a Super Bowl, and not just won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl, mind you, against Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So that's
right. that Super Bowl he was dominated by the defense.
Yes, that is true. It's mainly the defense, but still, I think it's the euphoria of the fact that Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl 43-8, I think was the final score. So, all right, Anthony, let's have picks 9 through 6 now.
9 through 6. Here we go.
9 through 6.
Right. I got Tua starting off at 9.
All right.
Justin Herbert at 8.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
No,
Derek Carr at 7.
Derek Carr at 7. Okay.
So you say Derek Carr is better than Justin Herbert. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
You want me to go 6 through 1?
No, just 6.
Matthew Stafford.
Overall, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
He's interesting on where you rank him.
Derek Carr above Justin Herbert, I'm going to have to disagree with. But you know what? I mean, other than that, I think it was still pretty solid.
It's solid, yeah. I mean, you have the right guys in there, I think.
All right. Frankie?
Number 9, I've got Lamar. Here's a quarterback who, people love to rip on him and criticize him. Listen, all he's done with the Ravens is win.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't get hurt last year, I guarantee you that they're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They are probably division champions. Like the Ravens last year, outside of a blowout loss to the Bengals, their last 6 games, they lost by 1 point twice, 2 points to the Browns. 1 point 3 times, and then they lost by 3 in overtime to Pittsburgh in the last week of the season. So it's not like Lamar Jackson's a bad quarterback. And by the way, last year he won without a lot of pieces around him. I mean, he had his 2 top running backs out. He had a rookie receiver.
1.
Do what?
Cornerback number 1 was also injured for the year.
Correct. I mean, like his performance on Monday Night Football last year against the Colts was one of the most heroic performances I've seen on Monday Night Football in a long time. 36 of 42 for 442 and 4 touchdowns against a really solid Colts defense. I mean, listen, he was, he just hit a wall, as did the entire team. I still think he's a top 10 quarterback. He has transcended the position. Yeah, he hasn't won in the playoffs. It's not all his fault, though. Number 8, I've got Dak Prescott. I mean, he's a quarterback who's so polarizing because you don't think he's all that great, but then you look at what he did last year. I mean, through the first 6 weeks of the season, he was an MVP. He was the leading candidate for MVP for crying out loud. And then, yes, he came back to earth a little bit. I am interested in seeing, of course, what he does without Amari Cooper, but I still think this is a very, very talented quarterback who has tremendous upside. You saw last year in the first regular season game against Tampa Bay, he still has it. I do think he's a quarterback who needs everything perfect around him, and you can question his ability to win big games. But when he faces a team in the NFC East, and when he faces a team that doesn't have a winning record, very good. And it's just at the end of the day, name me 8 quarterbacks better than Dak Prescott. Number 7, Matthew Stafford. Obviously the reigning Super Bowl champion, as much as that pains for me to say, but here's a quarterback who
maybe Eli Apple didn't blow his coverage.
Anthony
and
shut it. Maybe, yeah. You know what? At least my team played in the Super Bowl because you couldn't cover Cooper Kupp in that playoff game against Tampa Bay.
It's not my fault. We run an all out.
It's not your fault. Well, and by the way, that same coordinator is now your head coach. So have fun with that. Okay.
You don't think you have to hear that out first day?
Anyway, Todd Bowles. So Stafford is this big-armed quarterback who people say, oh, he padded his stats in Detroit. You know, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay, yeah, he finally got a good offense around him and a good offensive line, a good head coach in Sean McVay. He still had to deliver. Guess what? Through 8 games last year, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. What am I missing? And I look at his performance in the playoffs. I look at the game-winning drive in Tampa Bay when everything had caved in around the Rams. They blow a 24-point lead. He still found a way to get them down the field in a field goal range. And then the NFC Championship against the Rams kryptonite of the last few years, the 49ers. Down 10 in the fourth quarter, finds a way to get them back into the game, tied it, and then win it on a game-winning field goal. The Super Bowl, after throwing 2 interceptions, missing a catch on an end-around reverse, whatever it was called, or whatever it was in the third quarter. And then you're missing Odell Beckham. You don't have Van Jefferson on the field, I don't think. You have Cooper Kupp and some guy named Skoranek. Well, guess what? He still leads the Rams down the field, game-winning drive to win the Super Bowl against a good Bengals defense. Matthew Stafford proved himself last year. 41 touchdown passes. How many passing yards did he have last year? Because he has a 5,000-yard season. And don't tell me that he padded his stats in Detroit. No, he didn't. Matthew Stafford was still really good. He was just playing with a terrible organization. 4,886 yards passing, 67.2% completion, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, rating of 102.9. There you go. Number 6, Justin Herbert. A lot of talent with this guy. 5,000-yard passing season last year, back-to-back seasons, 30 or more touchdown passes, several records for a quarterback in his first 2 seasons. I get all of that. Here's the problem, though. What has he done with it? Zip. He hasn't been in the playoffs. They were not very good his rookie season. By the way, last year the Chargers were 4-1 through week 5. Their record after that, 5-8. No, I'm sorry, 5-7. 5-7 with road losses at Denver and then ready for this at Houston.
Mm-hmm. That was a bad game.
And I still question his ability to win big games because they didn't beat the Chiefs at home last year on Thursday Night Football. They didn't beat the Raiders in the last regular season game. They didn't beat the Ravens in week 6. That was a big game. They also lost to New England. There are several big games the Chargers lost last year, including Dallas. So there's a lot with Justin Herbert. They have a lot of talent around him, but I still feel like he hasn't really done much with it.
No, I would agree.
That's not to say he's not a good quarterback because we know he is.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's a solid list.
How's your Publix cookie?
Thanks about that.
How's your Publix cookie?
This is actually from Kroger.
You guys have Kroger's up in Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Man, y'all lucky. I want a Kroger.
Publix is better. I mean, you're just complaining because you go to the Publix where Winston stole crab legs.
Hey, that's a historic site right there. I ain't disappointed. I'm proud. Are you kidding? I am proud. Anyway, so for my number 9, I have Dak Prescott, which I think is where he should be, where Frankie had him. Frankie had him at 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, at my number 8, I have Lamar Jackson. And then 7, I have Matthew Stafford, and also at 6, I have Justin Herbert. So, and I'm not going to elaborate any further. I think Frankie just kind of described more than enough for my reasonings as well. So, Anthony, it is now time for your top 5
Yay, finally.
This I feel is
starting off at number 5. Aaron Rodgers.
What?
Nah.
Okay, moving on.
Look at what he's going up this year with. Just
It
himself.
doesn't matter what he's going up against this year. Did you see what he did last year?
Oh, whatever.
So you're just going to disregard 37 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. Okay.
Who's his receiver? Who's his receiver one?
Last year, Devontae Adams.
This year.
It doesn't matter about this year yet.
It doesn't matter about this year.
I still haven't finished in the 3rd place.
Randall Cobb, not bad.
Alan Lazard has proven himself to be somewhat of a
And Robert Tunyon's back this year.
Yes, he is.
And by the way, Green Bay is going to run the football. They got 2 good running backs.
And that second round pick that they got from NDSU, North Dakota State, what's his name? The second round pick that the Packers got.
They finally took a wide receiver.
I forgot his name. It's Christian something or another. But I've heard that he's done really well, that he might be the wide receiver number 2 this year.
Anyhow. Don't hate me.
We're not hating. Keep going. Number
Christian
4.
Watson.
Thank you.
Pat Mahomes.
You have Patrick Mahomes at number 4.
I got Mahomes at 4.
That's not the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing.
Yeah, he's won 1 Super Bowl. So
yes, he's also been to another one.
He's been to another one also, but did he win? No.
And by the way,
Mahomes is still young.
He was a coin flip away from going to 3 straight.
He's still young. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he's only 4 or 5 years in the league. 5.
Yeah, and you could argue he's already a Hall of Famer.
Well, technically, he's 5 years.
I give him another year.
Okay,
see what he does without Tyreek.
Yeah, and he still has the best tight end in the game, and he has Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Yeah, he got from USF. You also have Juju, who TikTok dances for a living.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go.
I mean, him and Jackson Mahomes can make a living off that.
He also has Andy Reid, who's the best head coach in the game. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but he reads his playbook like a freaking McDonald's menu.
Way to curse on the podcast. Keep going. Number 3.
I did not mean to curse. Okay.
Number 3.
The GOAT himself, Tom Brady.
All right.
The fact that you have Joe Burrow ahead of Tom Brady.
Okay, and then here's the scary part is because there's 2 quarterbacks left, and it's Josh Burrow. So let's see where he ranks them.
Good Lord.
Joe Burrow at 2.
Okay, I can live with that.
All right.
Josh Allen at 1.
I have no complaints about number 1. I'm just saying that.
No. I can't say that I do.
Oh, y'all are speechless for the first time.
Well,
I'm speechless that you have Aaron Rodgers, who's the 2-time reigning NFL MVP at number 5.
Yeah.
Where would you like him then?
Well, I guess we're going to find out in a second.
I would like him at number 1.
Oh, well, I guess we may have just found out.
You may have just found out the actual right ranking of Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I figured out when you sent me the list.
You know what, Alex? Or Anthony, sorry. Okay. No, yeah, I did send you my list, and you know what? It's a pretty good list.
Did you check it twice?
Did I what?
Check it twice.
Did I Do you still believe in Santa Claus?
No, it's just part of the rhyme, okay? You know.
Did you check rhyme? Where are we rhyming here?
Never mind.
All right, Frankie, number 5.
Please. Number 5, Joe Burrow. Listen, you know I love Joe Burrow. Has completely revolutionized the city of Cincinnati when it comes to football. He's everything you want in a quarterback. He's confident. He's good. He's a leader. He's swaggy. He has swagger. Everything you want in a quarterback. But there is this thing of, well, can he do it again this year? Well, I mean, he still has the same weapons he had last year. And by the way, he was pretty damn good his rookie season without Jamar Chase and an offensive line that was even worse than what it was last year. So I think, and Joe Mixon was hurt for half of Joe Burrow's rookie season in 2020. So I look at that, and I think about the offensive line has improved this year, and he has a solid tight end once again, replacing C.J. Uzomah and Hayden Hurst. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year. And, I mean, you take a team to a Super Bowl, you have to – now then again, I say that, and I have him above Matthew Stafford, but I just think that you know what you're getting from Joe Burrow. You're gonna get 300 yards. You're gonna get 2 touchdowns. You're gonna get consistency. That's what you want from him. If I had to say, if I had to describe him as a type of sandwich, I'd say a New York Reuben, sophisticated and just high end, incredibly good. Number four, Josh Allen, electric stuff. Love the way he. And by the way,
I disagree.
Whatever. I was out on. Whatever. You already said your piece. I was out on him after his rookie season in 2018 when he completed less than 60% of his passes. In fact, I think it was like 52. Okay. Next year he gets to 60. So you're like, all right, maybe there's something there. Then they go out and get Stephon Diggs, and then whoosh, they took off. I mean, the last 2 years, when Josh Allen has the football in his hands, magic happens. Need proof? Look at the playoff game last year against Kansas City when he led not 1, but 2 go-ahead scoring drives in the fourth quarter, and it's a crime he didn't get the chance in overtime to lead another one, potentially. So, Allen at 4. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, you could argue, are one of the best teams to never play for a conference championship since the NFL went to 12 playoff teams back in 1990. You could argue that's how good he and the Bills were last year. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Again, last year, the Bengals obviously went to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs didn't, but Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the AFC. He's the most accomplished quarterback in the AFC. He has revolutionized the game of football, and not only that, he has proven that his style of play is sustainable. It's wild, it's different, it's unconventional, but at the same time, it's pretty dang effective. Look at the Chiefs' records the last 4 years. 12-plus wins in each of the last 4 years. And that's including last year when the Chiefs were 3-4. Remember when we thought what was wrong with him? Okay, Week 10, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns against the Raiders, say no more. Number 2, Tom Brady. It's amazing what this guy is doing. He threw for over 5,000 yards last year, 43 touchdowns, led the NFL, I believe, and one of you can correct me if I'm wrong, led the NFL in passing yards, touchdowns, and passing attempts, and he was 44 years old last year. He threw the ball 718 times last year. 718 times. What else am I missing? And by the way, he's won 7 Super Bowls. Number 1, no-brainer, keywords Anthony, no-brainer, Aaron Rodgers. 2-time reigning NFL MVP, 85 touchdowns to just 9 interceptions his last 2 seasons. I understand he doesn't have the same receiving core this year as he's had the last 2 years, but damn it, he's still the best quarterback in the NFL. He can make
person on the podcast.
He can make – I'm sorry, I just said the word damn, and that's a perfectly acceptable word. There is no throw that Aaron Rodgers cannot make. There is no throw that Aaron Rodgers cannot make. And how can you say that there is a quarterback in the NFL playing better football than Aaron Rodgers?
No comment. Exactly.
What do you want me to say?
No words.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to further explain how you have Aaron Rodgers at number 5.
I'm just looking at what I'm going to see this year. What I'm going to see.
No, you can't do that.
Well,
Because you may not see what you think you're going to see this year. And by the way, the last time Green Bay didn't have a great receiving core, which I feel like was 2018, did you know Aaron Rodgers threw for 26 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions? There you go.
Preach.
Yeah, I'll preach to the choir if I have to.
I do like that even though our lists are different in the top 5, we all have the same 5 quarterbacks.
Well, who you got 5 through 1?
Number 5, I have Joe Burrow. Number 4 is Tom Brady. Okay, I'm surprised nobody said anything on that one.
Interesting that you have him at 4.
Yes.
3 top 3.
Yeah. Now number 3, I have Josh Allen. Okay. Pretty standard. Number 2 is Aaron Rodgers. And number
of course,
1,
Frankie's going to agree with that because it's not 5.
And number 1, I still have the one and only Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has made the playoffs every single year except for one season. That one season, he didn't play at all because he sat behind Alex Smith.
And they still made the playoffs that year.
And they still made the playoffs that year.
Not only that, won their division.
He's been to 2 Super Bowls. All right, won one, lost one, and then the other 2 times that he didn't go to the Super Bowl, he still went to the conference game
and lost in overtime.
Well, yeah, he lost in overtime, but still, I mean, okay. Other than Aaron Rodgers losing in the NFC divisional, NFC conference games, what quarterback has that same resume in the past 4 years?
None of them do.
Exactly. I understand.
Maybe Tom Brady, but
maybe Tom Brady.
Even he's only been to 2 conference championship games.
Yes, because he lost to the divisional last year, won a Super Bowl in 2020, lost. No, he won the Super Bowl in 2019. Right? Am I imagining that?
He won the Super Bowl in 2018, lost in the wild card round in 2019.
Yes. Thank you.
Won in 2020, and then, lost in the divisional round last year.
So that's what I mean. He has the Super Bowl win and the Super Bowl loss like Mahomes, but those other 2 times, lost in the wild card, lost in the division. At least Mahomes has lost in the conference game, the game before the most important game of the season.
And not only that, but you look at how tough the AFC was last year, and
it's going to get tougher this year.
He literally had to be perfect against Buffalo last year, and he was.
Yeah, and he was.
13 seconds.
13 seconds.
That's still one of the most impressive things I've seen.
That playoff game has possibly been one of my favorite playoff games ever to watch, and it's a shame that Josh Allen didn't get that chance in overtime to try and tie it up.
It was.
But yeah, that's all I got. That's my ranking.
Okay, so we're about an hour in. We'll hit on these topics quickly. I wish we had more time. The Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina for what is it, a 5th round pick in 2024 or something like that? Yeah, that's what it is.
Conditional 5th round.
A bust.
And just to point it out, Carolina will host the Browns week 1.
It's also worth mentioning that the Cleveland Browns are still paying Baker Mayfield half of his contract to even go to Carolina, and they're paying him $553,000 week 1 to attempt to beat the Browns. I'm just saying.
I hate to say it.
What?
The Cleveland Browns are the grown-ups in this situation. I'm sorry, Baker Mayfield is the grown-up in this situation.
Thank you. That's what I agree with. You have
Panthers are still 2-15 at best.
No, not 2-15.
I don't think they're going to go 2. I think they're a team that's. I mean, they don't have. Christian McCaffrey is their best player, and he's hurt all the time.
And they still have DJ Moore.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
I don't think there's anything special with Carolina, but I definitely think they're going to be more competitive.
I agree. I think
to win what, 3 games?
No, Anthony, more like maybe 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 type ordeal. They're not going to make the playoffs, that's for sure. But you know what? They're going to give the Panthers some hope that they haven't seen since the Super Bowl of 2015 when Cam Newton did not dive for that football.
He did.
No.
What do Cam Newton and Fig Newtons have in common? They both crumble under pressure.
Exactly.
He dresses like a woman's designer.
Okay, moving on.
Hey. I'm just
in that same breath, DeShaun Watson, do we think he gets suspended?
I think he gets suspended for at least a year, minimum.
6 games.
He better be suspended for a year.
Look, in terms of this, Calvin
Ridley was suspended. It will say a lot about the NFL.
Calvin Ridley was suspended a year for gambling. And I understand gambling against and for your team is a very big deal because that's
like what Pete Rose did in MLB.
Exactly. Well, it isn't exactly what he did. It was that he gambled.
Yeah, he bet on games.
Exactly. So, and then here's the other thing. Okay, so a year for gambling. DeAndre Hopkins gets suspended 6 games for performance-enhancing drugs. And then here's DeShaun Watson, a guy that's had double-digit cases against him for something that is not a very good thing to have in general, even to have one of, and to get 4 to 6 games for something like that, then that means that every other suspension should be less than 4 games under any circumstances. Calvin Ridley, if he got a year to DeShaun Watson, what happened? Hello? What happened?
What?
Did something happen?
Frankie's dying.
Alex is kind of cutting out a little bit, but I just think with DeShaun Watson, if we can get Alex back. It says, Alex, you good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, maybe
You're
not.
blurry on my end, okay?
Yeah,
But just with DeShaun, if he's not suspended, is he good on your end?
Yeah, I'm fine.
yeah, I can hear and see Anthony better than I can hear and see you.
Oh, okay, Alex, you cut out there. Yeah, we were having issues with your connection. I just think with DeShaun, if he's not suspended for a year, that will look really bad for the NFL.
Agreed.
Like, they have to get this right.
They have to. It's a minimum of a year.
Exactly. Okay, so franchise tag deadline. Key players who are going to sign the franchise tag. For me, Bengals safety Jesse Bates. I don't see how the Bengals get a long-term deal done by Friday. The franchise tag deadline is, by the way, Friday at 4:00. So, who else are key players that are potentially going to sign the franchise tag?
The only one I could think of that hasn't signed an extension yet is Mike Gesicki of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's
Lamar
about it.
hasn't signed an extension. Lamar has not signed an extension yet either.
Lamar hasn't shown up to practice yet either, supposedly.
Yeah, that's an issue.
He wants a whole new contract. He doesn't.
Debo Samuel. Can you imagine if Lamar Jackson, very last minute, doesn't play for the Ravens this year?
Ooh, that could be something.
Where would he go?
Been thinking of fantasy. Houston.
That's the obvious pick. Yeah.
I would say Seattle.
Oh.
Pittsburgh.
Can you imagine him throwing a DK Metcalf? Nah, I can't see him in Pittsburgh.
Seattle. I'd say Seattle would be the most likely. Houston would be the
New
big
Orleans?
choice. Now they have Jameis.
No,
plus,
actually, New Orleans would be really interesting.
Atlanta.
No,
Atlanta's dedicated
Can't see
to Mariota and Riddler.
Detroit.
can't see it.
Nah, Jared Goff.
No, I can't see him in Detroit.
The problem is
Giants?
that the Giants.
If they don't pass on Jones.
You think he gets enough criticism playing in Baltimore? The New York media will eat him alive.
No kidding.
Uh,
I say Seattle would be the most likely spot. Seattle still has a bunch of cap space left open that they could make a big.
Can you imagine him throwing a DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett?
And Noah Fant still on that team.
yeah.
And he can make up for how bad that offensive line is up there.
Oh, I mean, especially with how what a mobile quarterback he is, he could definitely
Not
make
bad
up
for a
that.
running back. Commanders.
All right. Last but not least.
What about Washington?
Not Washington, Carson Wentz.
And then you got Sam Howell.
Last but not least, Sports Illustrated's Connor Orr recently released 12 teams who he says could actually win Super Bowl 57. We've got the Bills, Bengals, Ravens, Colts, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Packers, Buccaneers, and Rams. Your thoughts on that?
Funny that every single team in the AFC West was mentioned.
True.
I think that's the
Chargers
scariest
are
part.
overhyped. Chargers
I
are
think
overhyped.
that the Chargers, yeah. I mean, every single year we think they're this transcendent team, and yet they end up missing the playoffs. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2018. They've only been to the playoffs twice in the last 12 years. That's true, actually.
That is true. The only one that I really don't see is the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts, to me, I don't know if they have that, like, something that makes you say they're a Super Bowl team.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor is good, but he can't carry that entire team on his back.
No. And, like, the last team that didn't really have a great quarterback to go to the Super Bowl was the 49ers. Jimmy G was actually better that year than you think.
Exactly.
Like, he went into New Orleans and into Seattle and won both those games.
Mm-hmm. And the other one that I don't want to say surprising, but it just depends, is the Broncos, because that just depends on if Russell Wilson can get accommodated.
And they he has to beat 3 teams in his own division who might be better than their team.
Yeah, twice too. That's the problem. Is
Good point.
games. 6 games are against teams that that are arguably better than the Broncos.
And there's no guarantee that they're going to beat any of those teams at home. Like the Broncos have not beaten the Chiefs since 2015.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty bad.
I think the Colts are questionable. The Ravens to me are questionable. I don't think they're as good as people think,
No.
or other people think rather. Cowboys are questionable. They don't have a true number one wide receiver. Their defense is fine. I think their running back, yeah. The Broncos I don't agree with. The Packers I question too, just because I don't know if they can get there with the weapons around Aaron Rodgers. But Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, the Chargers, Raiders, Bucks, and Rams, I can all agree with.
Yeah, for sure. Bucks, Rams, absolutely. Chiefs, Bills, absolutely. I would say those are the 4 teams that I would expect to be in the Super Bowl. 2 of those 4 teams, obviously, but you know what I mean. Of those 4,
where are you with the Bengals?
The Bengals definitely making the playoffs. Absolutely, I'd say the Bengals could. I don't know. And Frankie, I think you're with me on this too. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody expected the Bengals to go that far and head to even the Super Bowl. So I think the Bengals are either going to have a superstar season like they did last year and make the Super Bowl, or they'll win the division or lose the conference game.
I think here's the thing. Like I'm thinking about it right now. Some of the wild card matchups you could get this year in the AFC are going to feel like conference title games. That's how good this conference is.
The AFC is going to be interesting.
My latest predictions, it came out to where I have the Chiefs playing at the Chargers in the wild card. I mean, talk about that.
That'd be fun.
I have the Steelers going to the Colts, which is a toss-up game, but I would favor the Colts, and the Raiders visiting the Bengals. And then the matchups in the divisional round, you're going to have 2 heavyweight fights in the divisional round potentially. Like you could get Bills Chiefs and then Bengals Chargers or something like that. Yeah. You could get Bills. That's how good this conference is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, I agree completely. The AFC is a fight. I mean, right now, the AFC has proved that 9-8 is not good enough to make the playoffs.
No.
And I think, and as weird as this sounds, I think the AFC is going to prove that even 10-7 is not good enough to make the playoffs. And I think there might be a team that goes. I think there's a team that might go 11-6 and not make the playoffs in the AFC.
And that team is probably from the AFC West.
It's going to be the Chiefs.
Not the Chiefs.
I just can't see Patrick Mahomes not like. Okay, here's the thing. Alex said it earlier. Patrick Mahomes, his baseline is 12 wins and an AFC Championship game appearance. You're saying he's not going to make the playoffs?
That's his floor. His floor is not winning the conference game.
I'm going to say something here that might shock you. Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson are more likely to miss the playoffs than Patrick Mahomes and Derek Carr this year.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think the Raiders are more likely to win the Super Bowl than the Broncos and the Chargers.
Yeah. Correct.
I'll say that. I mean, a good offseason pickups. Devontae has one on there, so I think in my honest pick, I still think the Chiefs are going to win the division. I think the Chiefs will be first or second, and the only team that I think could beat them out would be the Bills. And then the Raiders will most likely get the wild card number 5 or number 6.
Here's the thing, though. Whoever gets that 5th seed, which is probably going to come out of the West, do you really want to go play Indianapolis in the wild card round?
No.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, there seriously might be a team that wins double-digit games and does not make the playoffs.
Oh, that's not a possibility. That's going to happen.
It's going. Okay, so you say
it's going to happen.
Let me ask you all this question:
Okay.
Buy or sell? The Steelers win more games than the Ravens this year.
No.
I disagree with both of you.
I think the Ravens having so many injuries, still going 8-9 is impressive. The fact that Lamar was out 6 games, they were out their cornerback number 1. They were missing their starting and backup running back. They had no real wide receiver core except for Marquise Brown, who's not even there anymore. Lamar really only had Mark Andrews to throw to, and now that I think everybody is healthy again, I think the Ravens are going to – I would say if they don't win the division, they'll get second place right behind the Bengals.
I don't know. I just feel like the Ravens can very easily once again crash to like 8-9. They lost a lot this offseason. They lost Marquise Brown. They lost Bradley Bozeman. They lost Tavon Young, DeShaun Elliott. They lost a lot of players in their secondary. And by the way, they lost Brandon Williams. I understand they still have Lamar Jackson. They still have their running backs. They still have their corners. That's fine. By the way, you know who they also lost? Don Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator.
Thank you. Okay, I was trying to figure out.
That has to mean something. And like the Ravens and Browns, we're hyping them up this offseason because we think they have so much talent. They can very easily underachieve. Pittsburgh, you know their floor, but they can also be better than that floor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, like the time that they went 12-0 with.
You can argue that was
a fluke.
You can argue that was a fluke.
It was a fluke.
Not argue. You can say it was. They were 11-0 and they lost to the football team. Yeah.
You know what? I'll go as far as this. I think the Steelers will get third place. They'll go 9-8. I still think they'll have there's no way that they're going to be better than the Ravens.
And with that 9-8 record might get you like the
9th place,
11th seed in the AFC.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I was thinking about earlier today. There's only one team in the NFL that I can legitimately say is neither good or interesting.
The Giants.
No, the Houston Texans.
Wow.
They're an interesting team.
What excites you about the Texans? What interests you about the Texans?
Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks, and that's about it.
Exactly. The Giants, their quarterback situation is interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch. The Lions have Dan Campbell, who's this energetic personality freak. The Seahawks, maybe you could say they aren't interesting, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens at quarterback long term. Plus, with DK Metcalf, if he stays or he goes. Who's another team that's not very good?
The Jets. Well, the Jets made a lot of offseason.
Jets are really interesting. The Jaguars I can even make a case for the Jaguars.
Doug Peterson with a second-year quarterback that was you could argue to be one of the best college prospects to ever come out.
But the last time Doug Peterson dealt with a second-year quarterback, he was the MVP before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So there is something to that.
I think Jacksonville is interesting.
All I know is we are 56 days away from kickoff. And by the way, the opening night kickoff game might just be a preview of the Super Bowl.
What's the opening again?
Bills-Rams.
Oh.
The NFL could not have gotten that more right.
That's a good one.
That is a fascinating game.
Look, I'm just saying, if you thought Cowboys-Bucks was somewhat entertaining or whatever, I think Bills-Rams could be one of the best openers in a long time.
I mean, there's so much you can talk about going into that game.
Exactly.
The last time we saw the Bills should not have been the last time we saw the Bills. I'll end with that.
Mm-hmm. I think I will wholeheartedly agree with that, and I think that is the end.
I think we end there.
I think we do end there. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This has certainly been a informative and long episode, but it's always a good one here on this channel. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. So you think had the best quarterback rankings? Let us know what our opinions is. Leave a like, leave a comment. yeah, that's about it. That's all I got really
Yeah.
to say, right? Yeah. Thank you guys so much
What
for
we got
watching.
on what we got in the next episode? Head coaches.
Yeah, most likely head coaches will be next episode.
I have a very interesting list for that.
That one could be
I
fun.
need to make mine.
Here's the question. Here's the tease for that. Where do you rank Bill Belichick?
Top 5.
Is he still worthy of that?
I guess we'll see next time.